Good morning, class. Today we're going to talk about the properties of a parallelogram. So we're going to first of all define a parallelogram. A parallelogram is a quadrilateral, meaning it's a four-sided figure, like a square, rectangle, rhombus, you can name it. But here the specification is that first of all, it's a quadrilateral. We with each side, with each opposite side being parallel. As you can see here, the upper level and lower level are parallel. Let me bring myself here. So, okay. This side here and this side here are both parallel. And other sides, so the left and right hand side are also parallel. This and this. So that's the major definition of a parallelogram. It's a quadrilateral, meaning it's four-sided figure. Quadrilateral with opposite sides that are parallel. So in your test or any website you find yourself where they ask the question of definition of parallelogram, you should be able to say it's a quadrilateral with opposite sides being parallel. Okay. And then we have four attributes of a parallelogram. But before that, we're gonna just quickly go into some kind of review. We know that supplementary angles are angles that add up to what? 180 degree. Like the case of interior and exterior, since interior and exterior angle add up to 180 degree, they are said to be supplementary. So a supplementary angle is, supplementary angles are angles that add up to 180 degree. It could be two. You can have two angles put together on a straight line to make, to form a straight line. It could be three, it could be four, but the sum of all the angles on that straight line should be 180 degree, okay? As you can see here, angle Q and angle P. So when you add them, you should have your 180 degree. So you see Q here, down here. Once you move, and the same Q is here, and the P is also here, the pink one. So when you add the pink and the blue, form a straight line. Even though the blue angle is more than 90 degrees, so it's obtuse. The pink angle here, which is less than 90 degree, is acute. So when you add this acute and obtuse angles together, they form a straight line, and they're on a straight line, so they add up to 180, then they are supplementary. But when you have two angles, so that the sum is 90 degree, we say they are complementary. So complementary angles are angles that sum up to 90 degree. Like in these two cases, we have one angle that's 40, another angle is 50. So when you take the sum, 40 plus 50, 90. So the two angles are said to be complementary. The same thing goes with 30 and 60. 30 is under 30 degree angle is acute. 60 degree angle is also acute. So putting them together, they add up to 90 degrees. So they are said to be complementary. So these are the three attributes of parallelograms we want to talk about right now. As you can see here, the opposite side here and this opposite side here, BC and AD. So we're going to write BC. Let me write it very well. I'm using left hand, so that's why I needed to bend my screen a little bit. BC and AD. What do you observe? They have the same measurement. So since they have the same measurement, they were said to be congruent. Okay, and I'm going to change color. the left hand side and the right hand side, AB and DC, are also congruent. So which means the first attribute of parallelogram is that the opposite sides are congruent. Opposite sides are congruent. And the second attribute is that we're going to see the angles as well. As you can see, this angle here and this angle, they are opposite angles, this and this. And other side to this angle is opposite to this angle. So we're gonna say we want to say angle A, what A with angle A and angle C are said to be also congruent. And the pink, the purple one, angle B. Let me change color. Sorry, this is B, and the other side, angle D, are also congruent. Since they are opposite angles, we're gonna say in a parallelogram, opposite angles are also congruent. And in addition to that, we're gonna see consecutive angles. Consecutive angles mean angles that are next to each other, okay? As you can see, A and B are next to each other. So that's the meaning of consecutive, okay? Next to. So as you can see, A and B are next to each other. So when you add them, what would that give you? The angle measure of A plus measure of B gonna be equals to what? So it looks like something like this. This is B, this is A. So if this is B here, this is A here. So if I decide to extend this line, this A here can come back here. Thanks to interior, consecutive interior angles, okay, which are congruent. And then, these two angles here are going to be added up to form a straight line. So they're going to be what? Supplementary. Okay, so they're going to add up to 180. So A and B are next to each other, so they add up to 180. Same thing for the other side. D and C, as you can see, D is obtuse, A is acute. So when you add them, measure of angle D plus measure of angle C will add up to 180 degrees. So at that level too, they are also supplementary. So here we're going to say parallelogram has consecutive angles or angles that are next to each other being supplementary. And then the last attribute is that we're gonna say we're gonna try to draw the diagonals. The diagonals are when you move from one extreme point to the other. Okay. While you're trying to cross, the parallelogram from one side to another. The same thing. Oh, let me draw the other one in another color. So if the point of contact here is let me say E, then E, the distance BE gonna be the same as ED, and then the distance AE gonna be the same thing as EC. So we're gonna say BE, they're gonna say AE is congruent to EC, and also BE congruent to ED, meaning a parallelogram has diagonal that bisect each other. So in a parallelogram, the diagonals will always split, each other into, half. So a diagonal always bisect each other, meaning they split into half. So this is a practice we're going to quickly look at. And we have been told to find LM. LM, LM is this, the upper level here. Since we know that LM is, congruent to, LM and QN are opposite. Okay, so they are congruent. LM congruent to QN. And we know QN to be 13, so it means LM has to be 13 as well. So that's why here LM is 13. Find which one again? LQ. We know LQ. I'm gonna draw it. This is LQ, and LQ and MN are parallel and congruent. So LLQ congruent to MN, and MN happens to be 8, so it means LQ has to be 8 as well. So let me draw LM and QN. What else again? Find LP. LP, I'm going to draw the diagonals. These are the diagonals. So it means this distance is same as this. I'm going to draw the other diagonal in another color, maybe yellow. This distance is same as this. So then we're going to see LP and the PN, intersect, are congruent because LN is a diagonal. So we're going to write LN, LP congruent to PN. Since PN is 7, LQ has to be 7. So here 7. And also MQ. What are we looking for? Okay, MQ. MQ is a MQ is the sum of MP and PQ. Okay, but we know MP to be 8.2, but we don't know PQ. But we know MP and PQ are congruent because they are along a diagonal, they intersect each other. So PQ has to be 8.2 as well. So if PQ is 8.2, so when you add 8.2 and 8.2, it gives you 16.4. And what next? And the measure of angle LMN. LMN is the whole of this angle. And we know this angle is congruent to angle Q because they're opposite angles. LMN is congruent to LQN. Okay. And then since we don't know anything about LQN, so we're gonna leave it like that. But the next thing we know about is that the angle L here, angle L here, I'm gonna put it in another color, is congruent to angle N. And we know L, and we also know that angle L plus angle M. Let me clear this because the space is too small. They're in purple color, so I'm going to do it in purple. Angle L plus angle M add up to 180. Okay, so to get M, I'm gonna do 180 minus 100 because angle L is 100. So here I'm gonna have 80. So meaning angle M has to be 80. So that since angle L is 100, so when you add them, they are supplementary angle. So they are next to each other. So they are consecutive angle, and consecutive angle in a parallelogram are supplementary. They add up to 180. And the next thing is angle NQL. NQL. Okay. This, as you can see, angle LQN is purple and angle M is also purple. So since they are opposite, they are congruent. So angle Q is congruent to angle M. M is what we just calculated on the left, which is LMN. So this one has to be 80 as well. And then the measure of angle MNQ. MNQ. Okay. MNQ is congruent, as you can see, green. This green color is, and L are opposite angle. So angle N is congruent to angle L because they are opposite angle. They are congruent. So if L is 100, so N has to be 100 as well. So here we have 100 degrees. And then lastly, LMQ. LMQ, okay. LMQ is just this angle somewhere here. We move from L to M and then to Q. As you can see, LMQ and is congruent to MQN because they are alternate interior angles. Okay, I'm gonna put it somewhere here. The thing looks like this. This is L, M, and this is Q. And then we have N here. If this angle, and you know MNQ to be 29, so this guy is 29 here. This forms Z. Since LM and QN are parallel, so 29 and 20, MNQ and LMQ are interior consecutive angles, so they are congruent as well. So this one will also be 29 degrees. So three things to take home today, four things. The first thing to take home is the definition of a parallelogram. A parallelogram, we said, is a quadrilateral with opposite side being parallel, meaning the upper level are parallel and the left and right side are parallel. And we also said that supplementary angle are angle that add up to 180, making forming a linear pair, and complementary angles are angles that add up to 90, that's forming a right angle. Okay, and then we have four attributes of parallelogram. The first one is opposite sides are congruent, so the upper and lower level are always equal. Left and right are parallel and equal. The next thing is about opposite angles. So the angle formed on the upper level, right, the left upper level will be the same as the angle formed as the right. The left upper level will be same as the angle formed at the bottom right lower level. Okay, and also the angle formed at the right upper level will be the same as the one formed at the bottom left level. Okay, that shows opposite angles are congruent. And another thing is that the diagonal will bisect each other. In a parallelogram, the diagonal bisect each other. So it means if you take from the left to the lower level of right, and then lower level of left to the upper level of right, the point of contact there will So when you take the diagonal, they will bisect each other there. And also consecutive angles bisect each other. That's also you're gonna see more explanation in the homework. Thank you very much.